Hello and welcome to Cloverfield, the Monster, the Show, the Podcast, the show all about beloved kaiju Clover from J.J. Abrams' hit 2008 movie, Cloverfield, as well as its extended cinematic universe, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and the Cloverfield Paradox. I'm Kit, and I'm joined with my two lovely co-hosts.
I'm the Cloverfield Monster. And that's my child, Cloverfield Monster Jr.
Cloverfield Monster Jr., yeah. So you would be in the first one, I think, right? Cloverfield?
Yeah.
Hey, is that a portal opening up? Back to a normal podcast?
All right, fine, all right.
We are Nirvana the band.
Hello and welcome to Nirvana, the band, the show, the podcast all about watching and talking about Nirvana, the band, the show, and not J.J. Abrams' 2008 masterpiece, Cloverfield. My name is Kit, and I'm joined by my two lovely co-hosts.
I'm Steve.
And I'm still the Cloverfield Monster somehow, but you could call me Michelle.
Well, I know we're all here to have fun, but I really need to address something that happened on our last episode.
What is it?
Look, I did a lot of reflecting, and I've written a statement that please let me get it out, okay?
Okay, whatever you need.
After much self-reflection and consultation with my loved ones, I've decided to address my recent transgressions. I made an impulsive statement without proper thought and consideration. I want to apologize to the Cloverfield Monster, their loved ones, and their fans for accusing them of eating a spaceship in the Cloverfield Paradox. This is a fundamentally untrue statement, and one I deeply regret saying. I will not be taking any questions at this time. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was so brave of you to say.
Yeah.
It's just the right thing to do.
Thank you. I know it might have sounded like I was laughing, but that was crying. That's just what it sounds like when I cry, because it was so beautiful.
Please forgive me, Cloverfield Monster.
I forgive you. I forgive you.
I mean, to be fair, I know we need to get into the episode, but to be fair, it does very much look like the monster eats the spaceship at the end.
But I looked it up, and apparently it doesn't actually eat the spaceship, nor is it the Cloverfield Monster. I'm crying, I'm not laughing.
That is the Cloverfield Monster, like just a bigger version.
I haven't seen the Cloverfield Paradox. When you say it looks like it eats the spaceship, but it didn't, is this like an Austin Powers, like pretending to go down an elevator behind the sofa situation?
Kind of.
Welcome to Austin Powers. Is it? Okay. Because I showed you that picture and you told me it wasn't the Cloverfield Monster.
Well, okay. Because it was so big that I was just like, that can't be it. Like,
Did I apologize for no reason? Did I go through all of this pain and suffering?
No, you listen. You apologized for a good reason, which is the monster did not eat the spaceship. But I should apologize for doubting that the image that you shared in the safe space of this Zoom call was the Cloverfield Monster, because it was just a bigger version of it.
Growing monster.
Okay. So big. I should also say that I just marathoned all 3 of the Cloverfield movies very recently. So I know we're here to talk about Nirvana the band. All of my notes are about Cloverfield, so I can't wait to shoehorn that into a Battle of the Bands.
Kit loves TJ Miller and everything he's done on and off screen.
My favorite guy.
I thought he really excelled as the Mucinex blob of snot, or whatever he is in those commercials. That's his favorite role of mine.
I believe he's a booger. He's working class. He doesn't say blob of snot. I'm a booger. I'm from Brooklyn.
Oh my God.
I think it's episode 4, and we have hit a new record, approaching light speed with how quickly we've gotten off topic. And I think that's amazing.
So if anybody has any questions or comments about Cloverfield or TJ Miller, you are not welcome on the show. But if you have any comments about TJ Miller, please reach out.
And also, if you have any thoughts about Cloverfield, you can email us directly at nirvanathepod@gmail.com. Address it to me, Kit. I will answer as quickly as humanly possible.
I just also like to let you know, if you're talking about Austin Powers, I will probably answer as quickly as Kit would Cloverfield's.
And I don't care to answer emails, so please don't email me about anything. Thank you.
I think you prefer carrier pigeon, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I will respond immediately if you get a pigeon to come to my window.
They didn't leak your Signal chats in the court filings?
No, they didn't get me.
For what, Michelle?
Yeah, Michelle. What didn't they get you for?
No comment.
But yeah, today we are continuing our watch of the web series. We're going to be covering episodes 7 and 8, which is Battle of the Bands and The Burn, respectively. And I also wanted to call out 7 and 8. We are approaching at a very fast velocity the end of the web series.
Yeah.
I'm scared and excited to go into new territory.
I'm so hyped to go back to the Viceland series. I have intentionally not watched any of it since we decided to do this show.
That'll be fun. You'll be like me, almost.
Yeah, almost. Except I've seen it 3 times.
Experiencing it anew.
All right, so let's start talking about episode 7, Battle of the Bands. So in this one, after a disastrous B-Day, Nirvana the band has broken up, and Matt and Jay have gone their separate ways and are now working with other musicians. And the opening credits for this one is It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. So what did we all think?
Perfect opening. I love the Great Pumpkin so much. I was so delighted to spend time with that.
It was really nice.
I really, really like this episode. How about the two of you?
I think it's well done. It makes me so sad, like the whole time. I hate to see the two boys apart and yearning for each other and trying to replace each other and failing and like seeing people who don't understand their vibes. I don't know. I think I enjoyed this one more when I rewatched it, but the first time I was just so bummed out the whole time because I just wanted them to say they were sorry and find each other again.
I need to just get this out now because otherwise I'm going to be sitting on it for the rest of the episode. And I think you both know what I'm about to say. I cried at the end of this episode.
Aww.
Me, noted crier at most things, as you two know. Even though I knew what, the actual end was, because we're going like so emotional in our analysis of this, I got really overwhelmed and teared up quite a bit.
That's fair.
I would say this is my favorite episode of theirs in general. I just think this is so well done. It's really great. I love that they've brought in their friends to be part of this. That was such an exciting thing to hear in the commentary, that it has this an additional personal meaning to them. And more importantly, this was the episode where I fully intended to press the button and lock you all into my saw trap about how these two are in love. But we can move on to other things. This is a deep, yearning episode, as Michelle said. And even outside of that, if you're reading this as friendship, still so beautiful, so touching.
Kit, your favorite joke comes up at the beginning, the triple jump, and Jay being so angry about it was really sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so watching it this go round for our show had a different feel for me because I'm going to admit, until about 5 months ago, I had no idea who the Born Ruffians are.
I still don't totally know outside of the show. I listened to a couple songs, but I have no greater context for who they are as a band or how famous they are or not.
I had context because my partner is a big Born Ruffians fan. And so when we initially watched the web series and the Born Ruffians appeared at the end of the last episode, he was over the moon. He was so fucking psyched.
Who
they
are
a
they?
Big deal. Yeah. I only know them now because my wife knows, is a fan of theirs. They're an indie rock band that are quite popular. And I was like, I don't fucking know who these guys are. They seem like nice guys. So cool. I'm glad I'm not the only one because her response to me was do you know who the Born Ruffians are? I was like, yeah, obviously.
No, I had heard the name, but I feel like it may have only been from other Nirvana the band stuff.
Okay.
But otherwise,
so I guess Kit and I are married to a couple of cool dudes.
Sounds like it.
Very true.
This episode's a little weird because there's not a lot of plot to it. It is all very much just character beats and emotion. And it's a really interesting departure from the way the rest of the series goes. Especially with, and as Matt called out in the commentary, Jay was forced to fend for himself. And normally it is Matt leading the scenes. to the point where they got into fights because Matt wouldn't leave space for Jay to do his lines in a lot of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting to see Jay have to be the like funny one.
I think that's interesting because I felt like there were a couple times when Jay is doing scenes with all these other people that are coming through where he is, if not repeating exact lines that Matt said, like really like pulling a Matt impression out of him in a way that I think is so like interesting. And I'm sure it's intentional, but watching the show like feels like maybe he doesn't realize he's doing it.
I think you're probably right. And we're also seeing like how much of the, I don't want to use delusion, but like misconceptions about things are ingrained in Jay in a way that it's not Matt necessarily leading it. Because there's the part where he's playing with the guy with the guitar and he's like, I don't think most clubs have an elaborate lighting setup. And Jay's like, it's the Rivoli.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy goes, well, have you ever seen a show at the Rivoli? And Jay gets so angry because, you know, while it seems on its surface that Matt is leading this, it's like this one really shows you like, no, this is their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really sweet because also there's the part where the other guy's pushing like back on how to like make music. And Jay was like, no, you do spoken word thing while I play piano. Like that's how a band works. And he was like refusing to hear any other way but his and Matt's way.
Yeah. And I think it's the same with the guitar guy. He's like, a band is just two guys.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, not more than two guys. He's like, no, it's just two guys doing this one specific thing the way that I've been doing it.
Yeah, he is so committed to this thing that him and Matt are doing. And I mean, even at the start of the episode, like obviously previous episode, Jay has cursed the hole. Matt is really upset with him. They've broken up the band, all of that. In this episode, when Jay goes out to go get a pumpkin and the big box of Airheads, he sees that the Rivoli is doing a battle of the bands, and his immediate thought is to call Matt. But Matt doesn't hear him because he's practicing with the Born Ruffians.
It's really sweet. And also, I think this is really interesting character study for Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Because while he is either intentionally ignoring Jay or not, you can see as the Born Ruffians are buying into his shit, like he's like, oh, a band needs to have a laugh. Like it goes through all of them, whatever. He's getting angrier and angrier and trying to be more and more off-putting to try and force them to kick him out. He's like, oh, we gotta do this thing with this laugh or whatever, you know, and it's going, and then eventually he's like, $15 for this is gonna go to the fighting the Iraq war. And by that, I mean killing Iraqis. And it just, he's escalating.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not being like, oh, come on, we don't have to do laughter. And they're like, let's do it. And then they're yes-anding him. And they're doing the bits and they're going along. And you can see Matt being like, I guess I gotta push it more. And that was my read, is that the more that they wanted him, they were taking him on, the more he missed the dynamic with Jay, and the more he just felt the need to get worse. I don't know how you two felt.
Yeah, that's an interesting read. I didn't really read it as like him escalating the bit to get kicked out. I just kind of read it as just Matt being Matt in a way. Like I didn't see it as an escalation, but it felt to me that he was just getting bored there. And so he left. But that was my take on it. I don't know, Michelle, if you
No,
saw
that's
it any
sort of how I
differently.
read it too, was like they like his jokes immediately, and then they sort of stop responding to him in the way that he wants and likes, and he gets bored and leaves.
But I
But
feel
I
like
could see the escalation. I think
definitely.
I think that's an interesting read.
Jay often is like, Matt, you gotta stop. Like, he doesn't always immediately buy into Matt's bits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he buys into the plans, but not so much always the jokes. And, like, because Jay cuts him off a lot when he just keeps going. And they did not cut Matt off once.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only person who really sort of pushed back on him was sort of Silent, the drummer, doing those incredible faces to camera.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But none of them were like, dude, you're a fucking weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was viewing it as the escalation thing. I could, again, be reading too deeply, but he gets to, like, that Iraq war joke was just so aggro and like a fuck you to a non-existent audience that I was like, you are trying to be off-putting, sir. Because he doesn't go out in a rage. He, like, lies about going to get gelato and is just mopey. He's not even like, fuck yeah, I got out of there. He's just like, Okay, I'm gonna call Jay now.
Gonna call Jay and walk around this park and chase some birds.
I feel like whether you read it as him like intentionally escalating or not, it's an interesting thing where like he over time is like, this is in the same way that Jay keeps like saying no to all these people and like finding reasons to kick them out of the apartment. Matt's saying like, this isn't right because I'm not with my guy.
And he leaves his jacket and doesn't even bother to go back for it. Like,
and he's not wearing the hat at all this episode, which is he's not himself.
No. And in the park, he's literally chasing Bird, just like his heart has been chasing the whole episode.
Yearning.
I'm thriving right now.
I do have a note on my list for this episode that is just incredible goose acting.
Oh, yeah. Did you two watch the commentary?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where Matt reveals that that's just a thing he does, chase geese around the park?
Of course he does.
I was like, yeah, seems like a thing you would do, sir.
I think one of my favorite lines from this episode is when he's on the phone calling Jay back. And he's like, his goose is probably going to be good for a couple more hours. And then the goose immediately flies away when he gets off the phone.
And then he's like, oh, wait, I got to stop him from going to get his friends. Matt and Goose are just like one of the greatest comedy pairings we've seen besides Matt and Jay.
So in a way, he did find a replacement for Jay. It was just 3 Canadian geese in the park.
I do think it's possible that a Canada goose is a creature that most closely matches Matt Johnson for like inherent level of chaos.
I like this theory.
I'll keep working on it. This is a theory that I invented in this exact moment. So I'll build my body of evidence. We'll revisit.
I will be checking back in on this soon enough. Especially what bird you think Jay is on top of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I have thoughts, but not an answer yet.
Fair. I found the commentary, really intriguing. The couple things was Jay being one of the musical directors at Second City. I was like, that's a pretty big fucking deal, man.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that he was that entrenched in like the local comedy scene at the time.
I think that was one of the things that was mentioned in the zine that you shared a couple weeks ago, Kit, was like Jay's journey to doing that was he was at Berkeley. Is that right? The like fancy music school, and he dropped out, and his parents were pressuring him to get a job, and he got this job at Second City. And he's like, oh, music director sounds like a fancy title, but like I just play piano for comedians, and I have no context for that world and like how fancy of a title it is or is not. Maybe he was just downplaying it, but it does sound like impressive, and that like connects them to this big network of improvisers and comedians that I think is cool. And like you start to see in this episode how that community comes into this show, and I assume will continue being a part of the show.
I think it's really sweet that they put all of their friends in the credits with like the picture of them, like an in memoriam segment, just to make sure you know who each person was. And it just was clearly such a labor of, hey, let's spend time with our buds. And they even call that out in the commentary. They're like, I don't think anybody like is going to like this one because this was just for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so shocked to hear that in the commentary. They're like, oh yeah, this is like personal, like no one's really gonna like this. This episode only really gets good when the Smashing Pumpkin needle drop happens. And I was just like, no dude, I was having a great time this entire time, even before I knew that these people were your friends. I thought these were just like random people you pulled in, or like people that you knew. I didn't realize these were like your buddies that you wanted to be in the show with you because they're your friends and you want them to be part of this thing. Like it made it even better, honestly.
You can tell that they all have a vibe together, and they're not just actors that they brought in. The one guy who's like, oh, you're filming? My uncle is the cameraman for Canadian, so you think you can dance?
That's one of my other favorite lines from this entire episode.
And then they reveal that the guy who's like fake Matt that comes in at the end is one of the main stage players at Second City, which in terms of improv is kind of a big fucking deal. So
I looked him up on
neat.
IMDb. I'm forgetting his name right now. We can check. But he seems to continue appearing in Nirvana the band, the Viceland series, and then he's in the movie. He seemed so familiar when I saw him, and I'm assuming this is just that I remember seeing him in the movie.
I feel like since Matt and Jay are separated for the majority of this episode until the very end, I know we spent a lot of time on this podcast sort of like as Matt Johnson's little fan club. But I think we should spend some time talking about how great Jay is in this episode. Like, obviously, like, they've mentioned that, you know, he had to lead all of his friends through these, like, comedic scenes and everything. And I also loved that improv song that he did, where they made it up on the spot. And apparently they were, him and the person involved, like, were actually performing it because they wrote a second verse. Like, such a good song.
Well, they said that they improvised it for that scene, then later added a second verse and have performed it live many times. I thought that was really fascinating. And Jay is really fucking funny on this episode. The way that he goes from confused to full of rage in like 2 seconds really made me cackle.
When that guy comes in who is doing an impression of Matt, basically, Jay at some point turns to the camera and just makes this beautiful, excited, like, wide open smile that is so delightful and charming and made me laugh out loud, because it's the face that I was making in that moment when I realized this was a person who was, like, wearing Matt's suit and being him in a slightly different body.
What do we think about Jay drawing the line at this guy eating warheads that were supposed to be for children? I found that to be a really interesting character beat. That was such a slight, you know?
I didn't understand why that was so upsetting, but I was just like, we're just rolling with it, I guess.
Because they don't have a lot of moral boundaries.
No.
And do we think it was him just looking, like, even subconsciously for a reason to get this Matt impersonator out? Or is it that Jay truly has, like, this line of, like, hey, I bought candy for children, you cannot have it?
My heart tells me that it's, like Matt finding a reason to leave the studio with the Bored Ruffians, like, just having a moment of, like, this could work, but you're not right, so I don't want it to. Get out of here. And then it sets up one of the most beautiful moments in the show so far, which is this guy stealing the box, him running outside, Jay chasing him, and Matt witnessing while he's coming to deliver his I'm sorry pumpkin, Jay chasing after someone else with a box, just like they used to do.
That got me a little bit.
Devastating.
And then the needle drop. Oh my God. It's so emotional.
It really is. And the raw power of smashing pumpkins.
I had already liked the episode, but once that hit, I was locked in 100%. Like, so good.
It's the most sincere that they were, like, outwardly in the whole web series.
That feels right. I do also, if we can back up for 1 second, the moment where he's approaching the apartment and carrying his I'm sorry pumpkin is some of my favorite fictional Matt Johnson lore of the show so far, which is him being like, this is how we apologize in my family. And like just explaining that you leave an I'm sorry pumpkin outside the door so you don't have to be there, but you can still apologize. And then a really great interaction with someone passing by to be like, I bet you really fucked up.
I like that he goes on to be like, this is how the Green Goblin apologizes.
Yeah.
Because he can't sit with it for more than a second, that he has to go into like a Willem Dafoe impression.
We've all been there holding a pumpkin and then going into a Willem Dafoe.
Who hasn't?
Avenge me.
Yeah.
I say that in the mirror every morning. I yell, avenge me.
Not it's showtime?
Nope.
Not yelling at an old woman to finish her prayer.
Insert other Willem Dafoe reference.
Not being a lighthouse keeper.
Not spilling beans. Yeah. That's can I go back to the park for a minute?
Yes, of course.
I laughed so hard at Matt looking at a guy taking photo and be like, oh, Peeping Tom's still at it. Yeah, I know the game. Which is so bizarre. And Matt casually dropping, yeah, obviously I'm a Peeping Tom who takes pictures of people.
Yeah, it's what you do.
And the guy does not react.
And he's like clearly taking pictures of like birds or plants or...
Yeah.
That's a type of peeping, Michelle.
That's the kind of peeping I do all the time.
Whoa.
Leaf peeping.
You do seem like a leaf peeper.
I've never traveled specifically to see leaves change color, but I have peeped some leaves on purpose.
So you got that casual peeping?
Yeah.
That's the excuse she used. She's going to see the cherry blossoms on January 6th.
I heard it was peak bloom. Yeah.
One thing I do want to go back to is Matt and Jay's contact photos when they call each other. just shirtless, flexing in front of the camera. Why, guys? Why is that your contact photo for each other?
I think you know
Here's my
why.
question. Why not? I think it's a good bit. I mean, I don't want my phone ringing and having a shirtless person on it, but, you know, it's a pretty good bit when you're in your 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I also loved seeing that old iPhone interface. This is not the point of that whatsoever, but it's just really nice. Took me back.
I enjoyed seeing Matt have a fourth phone number in his phone, because he had a text from somebody else.
Right. He met a fourth person.
Good
Incredible.
For you, Matt.
Good job, Matt.
When we get to go, you know, bring it all the way to the end, like when we get to the part where Matt starts smashing the pumpkins against the door, I love this woman that runs up and just starts joining him in it. Because she is so hyped. And then the second woman comes up that's like picking up the pieces. And in the commentary, they say that she showed up and was talking about how they could use pieces of pumpkins to feed the homeless, which is one of the most psychotic things I've ever heard.
Yeah, pieces of broken pumpkin that have been on the ground.
On the ground.
Do not have a pie at that lady's house.
No.
How do we feel about the end of this episode?
So I love the way that this episode progresses. We have Matt seeing Jay and fake Matt running down the sidewalk, and then we see Matt is smashing the pumpkins, and then we see Jay going up the stairs. I love that scene of him going up the stairs to the music. He opens the door, and then Matt has presumably hung himself, right? Then Jay running to go to him. He's so upset, all of that. And then to see Matt just start laughing. The first time I saw this episode, I was laughing so hard I thought I was going to throw up. Like it was so funny to me. His facial expression, where he just sort of like puts his hands up in like a sort of half-hearted shrug and is like laughing so hard. So funny to me, because you have like the whiplash of like, oh my God, did Matt just hang himself? There's no way. And then of course it's all a fucking bit to like make Jay feel bad about running around with this other man on the streets of Toronto.
His facial reaction is basically ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum, but as a face.
Yeah.
But you know, even though I knew he was faking, I teared up at Jay's reaction to thinking Matt was dead.
Yeah.
Because it's such a good acting by Jay. Because it seems like he's really distraught.
Yeah. I think it works in the show, like, because there is a moment of taking it very seriously and then revealing that it's a joke. It would have been really easy to do this, like, badly, but I don't think it was.
I think part of that is in Jay finding it funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if Jay was, like, inconsolable, it would stop being humorous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like, it's such a nice button on the end of this episode where they've both been, like, trying and failing to find other ways to meet what each other are in their lives. Is, like, this is the only person who could make this joke and Jay would laugh. And it's the only person Matt could make that joke to who would think it was funny.
It's just such a great bit of acting from Jay, where you see him go from being, like, so devastated, like, grabbing Matt, all of that, seeing Matt like laughing like, haha, got you. And then the like watching all of these emotions wash over Jay until he's like, oh yeah, this is pretty fucking funny. How dare you? Like it's such a good bit.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is going to continue to hold true for the remaining episodes of the web series, but that noose just stays in the middle of their living room throughout at least the next episode. And I'm assuming maybe for the rest of the web series.
Who's to say?
Well, now it's a sex noose.
It was always a sex noose, right?
Yeah.
In a way, aren't all nooses in your living room a sex noose?
It's definitely a conversation starter.
My brain broke when Matt reveals in the commentary that he always wanted to do a fake hanging at his future wedding.
Same.
Yes.
And Jay is so appalled by this concept.
One of them says, oh, I guess we have different tastes in weddings. And I was just like, yeah, obviously. Why the fuck would you want to do that at your wedding, Matt?
I have a theory. It's, weddings are too sincere for Mr. Fictional and maybe real Matt Johnson.
You gotta really counterbalance the love and affection with
a fake hanging. I would use squibs at my wedding if I could have. Just making it look like my chest exploded. That's cartoony enough.
What in what way? Like you were shot, alien chest monster. Like what's the vibe?
Just spontaneous squibbing.
Nice. I'm trying to imagine at what point in the ceremony or reception do you imagine this taking place?
I know, pronounce you. No, sorry.
God.
It's until death do you part is really when you do it, and then all the squibs go off.
That's better. You got to workshop it a little bit. Would it just be you with squibs, or
Okay,
both parties?
you both know who I'm married to. Do you really think they would allow squibs to go off on themselves?
I think if it was funny enough, they would let it happen.
Fair.
Yeah, you would
It
have to
was not
make
funny enough.
a strong case.
I was informed that I was only allowed to do a Borat impression once, like before the wedding. I was told, you are only allowed to say my wife once and make it count.
Once? Come on, that's not fair.
It was not very nice.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
Enough about weddings.
I know you guys have watched the commentary, but have you guys seen the clip from the deleted scenes where they're talking about the setup of this shot of Matt being hung?
I have not.
No.
Okay. So in the deleted scenes, there is a section there where it is Jay talking to camera with Matt sort of ready with the noose around his neck. They're getting ready to shoot the scene, and Jared is there filming. And they're talking about, they're basically treating it as Matt's last will and testament, where they're like, if this doesn't go well and I die, Matt goes, you need to use the shot. You have to use the shot or I die.
Oh my God.
Jared is going, no, we're not going to do that. We're obviously not going to do that. And Jay immediately was like, no, we'll use it. We'll use it. It is such an incredible moment of seeing their friendship of like, yeah, of course, Jay would use the shot. This is like really funny and also important to the both of them. But I will find this scene and send it to both of you. It's incredible.
Did they say like how they set it up? Because I think when they first show it, I was like trying to look at it and see where the supports were. Like it's a remarkably, I don't know, convincing stunt for like the level of production that the series has.
Yeah, they didn't explain in the deleted scene how they did it, but it did seem like there was a high possibility that Matt could have possibly actually hung himself, or at least that's how I interpreted
Given his life for the bit.
Yeah.
Well, Matt looks like puffier on the back, so I kind of assumed there was a harness involved.
That would make sense.
Well, when they come on the show, that's the first question.
Yeah.
No.
How'd you do the hanging?
Second
The first question is, Matt Johnson, are you still a hater?
Okay, the second question is when you hang yourself.
Thank
Fair.
you.
Yeah, we did get that. Michelle, can you put that on the whiteboard? Those are our first two questions.
Questions for Matt. Are you still a hater? How'd you do the hanging?
And Jay, first question. Why are you such a cutie pie?
Great. Noted.
Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like all of our questions for Matt will be very hard hitting, and all of our questions for Jay will just be heart eyes emoji for like 20 minutes. Yeah.
Michelle looks at him and says, I just have a quick question. Humana.
Ugh. I would say, how'd you get so cute? But I know that the answer is from his very cute dad.
Yeah. When we get Jay's dad on the show, we'll ask him, how'd you get so cute?
Yeah, that's the real investigative journalism that we need.
Yeah.
This is now a podcast sponsored by MyAncestry.com, interrogating Jay McCarroll's genealogy.
We are going to be put in jail.
You're very normal. Please don't sue us.
Do we have any other thoughts on episode 7?
It does end with the kind of setup for the next episode where Matt runs into the room with sort of ski masks and is like, we have to go. And then, just kidding. Actually, I have a coffee and I have to do something for my mom. But yeah, I do love that. And I know that we're 7 episodes into this, but I'm always shocked every single time at the arcs that exist in this web series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, we're in 2 episodes in a row where we learn about Matt's kind of weird relationship with his mom.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of fictional Matt Johnson family lore stuffed into these 2 episodes.
intriguing. I do wonder why that started to pop up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it's not really a character beat before, a character trait before. It is this one, oh, I gotta do something for my mom. And then the next one is like, oh, my mom takes me to get my hair cut.
I'm really excited to talk about the haircut.
Have you two seen that clip for when Matt Johnson went on Stabby's World?
Yes, I have.
I have not.
He asked his mom if he's handsome, and she flat out said no, but he's interesting looking.
Yeah. Devastating, to be honest. I don't know how he recovered from that. If my mother did that to me, I would have jumped off a building.
Heartbreaking to hear from your mom.
Yeah. That's episode 7.
Well, I did want to come back and provide another little interview for you guys to look at. I feel like a little cat that runs around into the woods of fandom and Twitter and all of that, and comes back with a little dead mouse and leaves it on your doorstep to look at. This one is an interview with Jared Robb and Matt Johnson, with a YouTuber named, I believe it's Patrick Tomaso. And it's from the video, I Didn't Know You Could Make a Movie Like This. And so it's Jared and Matt talking to the YouTuber Patrick about the process of filming Nirvana the Band, the movie, but they also talk a lot about the web series itself and sort of how the decisions that were made in the web series kind of became their Bible for how they handled certain things in terms of how things looked, how things were shot, moving on through the rest of the web series into the Vice television show and into the movie itself. Really interesting interview. Highly recommend checking it out altogether. But something I found particularly interesting from this interview was at the very top of it, where they're talking about almost like color theory. It's a conversation with Jared and Matt, where they say the fact that these characters always begin and end in a warm space that's really their own, and then without changing the color temperature, they go out into a cold space, and that the world is neutral and cold and real, and then they come back into their apartment where they're in their own world, where everything is warm and they're safe, which I think is such a fascinating way to look at that, because when Jared is talking about this specifically, the reason why this happened is because they just didn't know anything about lighting. So, of course, the apartment was warm and orange toned versus going outside and doing the man on the street stuff. That's cold and neutral.
Mm-hmm. I love this. I think this is so interesting. I think it's another one of these perfect things where they talk about this being something, that they weren't doing on purpose, that it was an accident. And then once they sort of realized, they leaned into it. And that feels like it's such like a interesting microcosm for the whole show is a lot of this is like beautiful, happy accidents that they sort of find what feels good and lean into it and keep doing that thing, even if it was not necessarily on purpose initially. And like that holds true for like all of their man on the street interactions and like these things that are just sort of happening, but then they become essential DNA to the show.
Yeah, they're building out both their world and their techniques and their visual language in a way that just shows how much care there is. And it is really interesting to see just how observant they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Versus a lot of things of the era, which were very much, let's shoot some shit and throw it out there. You can see like the origins of Matt Johnson, the filmmaker.
Mm-hmm. And it also kind of goes back to, I think, the episode The Basement, where I think in the commentary they were talking about how they tried to do lighting in there and it just didn't really quite work, either because of, how small the space was or anything like that. And so, I mean, I think some of the stylistic choices were either they didn't know or budget or just sort of how things happened. But I love that they continued to use some of the same language in a way moving forward to sort of make the web series and the Vice show and the movie all feel interconnected, even though technically maybe they're not.
A strong visual language will, without them realizing it, get audiences to stay with your consistency even if your plot changes.
Mm-hmm.
Think about like Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2 basically remakes Evil Dead 1 in the first 10 minutes, but the Raimi visual language and the way that he does stuff and the way that his movies looks like, you don't give a shit because it is the same thing. It's a continuation, but with a different tone. But that visual consistency does make them the same series,
Mm-hmm. That's a really interesting parallel. I haven't seen Evil Dead 1, but I have seen Evil Dead 2, which I think when we all watched Evil Dead 2 together, you told me it was okay, because now I have seen Evil Dead 1 in the first 20 minutes of Evil Dead 2.
Also, Evil Dead 1, not a Michelle film.
No, you would not have fun.
Great. I will continue to not have watched it.
It's a tough
Evil Dead
hang.
2, though. Masterpiece. Evil Dead 2,
Great. Loved
phenomenal.
it. Really fun.
10 out of 10.
I still love the original Evil Dead, but it's not a Michelle movie.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
do
a baby.
too. It's great except for that one scene.
Yep, that scene sucks immensely. Hate it.
A scene that Sam Raimi has apologized for.
Oh,
Steve,
no.
have you ever seen the musical for Evil Dead?
Buddy, I've seen
Whoa.
it. Who do you think was there opening night of previews off Broadway and also has gone to see the production they do in New Jersey every Halloween?
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know this intrinsic part of Steve lore. No, I was just asking because I was also really bummed that when I saw the musical, God, when I was in high school, so a billion years ago, that they also include that scene in there.
Mm-hmm.
Hate it.
I'm so delighted to not have any clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, you should be.
You don't want to know.
Though when I did see that, I was in the splatter zone.
Oh.
Which the musical does have a splatter zone in which you are covered in blood.
Do you get ponchos like SeaWorld?
You are allowed to bring a poncho.
Yeah.
But the woman sitting next to me was unaware. She was clearly in her 60s, and her husband were dressed up for the theater.
Oh, no.
And the off-Broadway production used a blood hose.
That fucking rocks, dude. Hell yeah.
We all looked like an Andrew WK album cover walking out of that thing, just covered in fake blood. And she was not too happy.
When you saw it on Off-Broadway, did they tell you which
Yeah.
seats you were in? Okay, so she had an inkling then
I
that this is
don't
the splash zone.
I don't think he told her.
Oh.
I think he purchased Splatter because also right when it started, they were like, anybody want to move? And they were like, nah, because
I
you
see.
don't assume it to be that much blood.
I mean, I guess I would be surprised by a blood hose. I would expect like a little bit, not a
Like-
whole fucking hose.
Ash cuts the top of the scalp of a deadite off with a chainsaw, and then blood from the brain just sprays out. And when I've seen the smaller productions, they have basically like little blood shooters that they just fire off at the crowd. It kind of rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gallagher, but not racist.
Is Gallagher racist? The literal only thing I know about Gallagher is that he smashes a watermelon. That is the
Yeah.
sum total of my knowledge.
I wish my brain wasn't full of this stuff. Yeah, Gallagher's a ghoul. Good thing he's dead. Never
He's
forget.
dead?
But yeah,
Tragic smashing incident.
I
were
have
we
learned
Facebook
so
friends?
much.
100%.
What?
Wait, hold on. What did you just say?
Gallagher would add anybody on Facebook.
Like real, truly Gallagher, not like when
Uh-huh.
I added the Jonas Brothers in middle school and it was definitely a liar making fake Jonas Brothers Facebook profiles.
No, it was him. He went on a lot of weird rants. And then one time he accidentally posted a photo of his coffee table with his driver's license and several pill bottles.
Hell yeah, brother.
What?
I know this has nothing to do with Nirvana the band.
It has everything to do with
Do
it.
you two know about Gallagher Too?
What are you saying?
No.
So Gallagher retired many of his bits, and then his brother toured for years as Gallagher Too.
Does his brother look like him?
Not that much.
What?
But he would do Gallagher bits, and he would book himself at venues. Don't worry, it's Gallagher Too, baby.
Was he also racist?
Yes.
Were you also his Facebook friend?
No, because Gallagher 1 sued him. I had to keep my allegiances.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really weird. There was a lawsuit. You two don't know about the infamous Marc Maron interview?
No.
No?
With Gallagher? One or two?
Yeah. One.
Okay.
One of the things that made WTF like really pop off, besides the Carlos Mencia interview, was Marc Maron interviewing Gallagher and asking him about some of his like recent tirades, like racist tirades and shit. And like 15 minutes in, Gallagher walks out of the interview.
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's glorious. And that is one of the things that made WTF popular, was him confronting Gallagher and Gallagher storming out.
I always thought WTF was popular because Marc Maron is very charming and I have a crush on him.
I mean, we all have a crush on Marc Maron. I think
Okay,
it's safe
well-
to assume.
I thought that's why we all liked WTF, because we all collectively had a crush on Marc Maron.
I thought he just started a podcast at early enough stages that there were only like 6 podcasts a person could listen to.
That was part of it. But I think why it broke out to normies was the Gallagher thing and also the confronting Carlos Mencia about stealing jokes.
I didn't realize that's where the Carlos Mencia joke stealer thing occurred.
It was out there, but he just asked him to his face.
What did he say? I can look
He was
this
like,
up.
there was like stories of Carlos Mencia stealing jokes, and then he had another comedian on to talk about the jokes that stole. And then Carlos Mencia heard it and stormed back to Marc Maron's house to do a second interview. It's good shit.
This is fascinating.
WTF, we miss you. Kit, you're going to edit all this out.
Marc Maron, come on the show.
Marc Maron, friend of the pod.
You know what? If we had started this 6 months ago when he was going on every podcast, we could have gotten Marc Maron.
There's still time. We can just say we emailed him 6 months ago and it was in his spam.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can you come on for Nirvana, the band, the show? What is that? Just
Yes.
would be
We
his
can talk about your
response.
cats. It'll be fine.
Talk about your coffee. I don't give a shit. Almost Famous? Let's do it.
I love that we have so many upcoming guest episodes that have nothing to do with Nirvana the band. We have the Marc Maron Cats and Coffee. We have Seth MacFarlane, Frank Sinatra. I love that we're slowly also turning into a J.J. Abrams podcast because we have brought him up in every single fucking episode so far. So I'd love to get him on the pod,
Contractually
JJ,
obligated.
please.
Hey, JJ.
Can we have a real Cloverfield movie, please?
Bad Robot's basically out of business and being sold off for scraps, so I don't think that's going to be happening.
What? What happened to Bad Robot?
I was
It's
just
they're-
about to say, I haven't heard anything about what he's doing lately.
Yeah, he had that show on HBO Max flop, and
Didn't even know he had that.
yeah, exactly. And they closed one of their 2 offices and fired most of the staff of Bad Robot.
That makes me sad. As
That could've been
many
Alias 2.
as many cruel words as I've had for J.J. Abrams, I liked that he existed in the world and was doing whatever he was doing. I had faith that someday he was going to finish something well.
He did. It was called Cloverfield.
He didn't even
2008.
make
Look it up.
Cloverfield.
He was enough involved, maybe. Possibly.
No.
Yes. His name's on the credits. He was there every day. He was in the suit.
That's like saying
Cloverfield Monster was a suit.
Steven Spielberg directed Hamnet.
He did. He was the camera operator.
Honestly, that would be great.
He was Hamnet.
Just Steven Spielberg CGI'd onto a baby slowly dying of the plague.
Steven Spielberg is Hamnet.
Hamnet. This time it's personal. Anyway, we really lost the plot.
I think we're just avoiding.
Dreading what we have to do next. All right, everybody. Let's buckle in for what we're doing next, which is moving on out of the interlude and into episode 8, The Burn. Matt and Jay try to blackmail Vince Valence 2 different ways. Through wiretapping his house and by trying to dig up dirt from employees at the Rivoli. Meanwhile, Jay has a crisis about being called Jewish. Opening credits, The Wire. So guys, how did we feel about episode 8, The Burn?
I think we
I'm gonna
really
come out
just.
with-
I think we
No,
need
go.
to start by addressing the elephant in the room. Just like really get it done first. And it is that Matt got a nice haircut between the
looked
last
cute.
episode and this one.
It wasn't
think-
too short.
He looks really handsome. It doesn't look too short. His mom was wrong.
I think he looks like he belongs in Panic at the Disco with a haircut, and I mean that affectionately.
I think he does look a little Irish, especially when he sort of musses the top like that.
Yeah, I'm for it. I thought it was cute. I'm for it. But I'm just going to come out and say my theory. You know how I've been on the record saying that the Matt character and potentially Matt Johnson, the guy, have this thing where when they are sincere and somewhat emotional, that they immediately pivot to being super aggro and unable to like sit in that sincerity for like a minute. The last episode was deeply sincere and emotional, and whether intentional or not, it really seems like they went, well, let's make the most off-putting episode possible immediately after the emotional one. And it seems thematically consistent.
I mean, I could see that. Just to get this out of the way, I don't like this episode.
Oh, I straight up hate it.
I
No.
don't like it. I was dreading talking about this episode when we decided that we were going to do this podcast. I think when we first started this podcast, we talked about how we weren't going to sort of nitpick every single off-color joke because that we would just be here all day, honestly. And that's not very exciting or interesting to listen to of us trying to out-woke Matt Johnson and Jay McCarroll from 2008,
Mhm.
right? And so far that has been fine because the jokes that have been off-color and insensitive and frankly racist have not been intrinsic to the plot in the way that this one is. This one, we can't not talk about how anti-Semitic it is,
Mhm.
the different moments where Matt is explicitly being racist towards Black people with like impressions in the car. It's deeply horrific on so many fundamental levels. And I mean, I think, yeah, there's the theory that like Matt is like so sincere, so let's make something so off-putting. But when I watched this, I was just like, these are dudes who are on the Something Awful forums in 2008. These are just internet users who play Magic the Gathering and video games. These are people I hung out with in 2008. Like,
Yeah.
this is just how it is. And that doesn't make it okay. It doesn't.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this fucking sucks deeply to watch. It sucked then to watch, and it sucks now to watch.
Yeah. It feels very much like guys in their 20s in 2008. And like, we know at this point that they have like grown and learned and become more thoughtful people, but it wasn't fun to watch.
Do we think that it is at all, because they do the Wire opening, them trying to do a heightened version of all of the racist language and shit that was on the Wire and failing at it because it's so fucking edgelordy?
I think that could be the POV that they're trying to do, but I also just think that, like, even now, Matt Johnson is an edgelord. You know, it's just like less than he was back then. So I do think this is just like Matt and Jay's worst impulses as comedians.
Oh, I definitely think that that's the case. I just wonder if that's the rationale, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was interesting that the commentary for this one is one where they talk almost not at all about what's happening in the actual episode, because if you do that, you have to like sit there and talk about like, this was a shitty joke and this was a shitty joke and I can't believe I did that, and like, why am I doing that voice? Why did we dress Jay up as an Orthodox Jew? And it just like feels gross. And
yeah,
so it makes sense to me that they sidestepped that by saying like, this is going to be the commentary where Matt and Jared just talk about, you know, more technical stuff the whole time.
I found that so cowardly when I clicked in to listen to the commentary. I was just like, all right, let's lock in here how we're going to talk about this episode. And then for it to be the two of them just talking about like things that are interesting and important. Like, I loved hearing them talk about how they made the show. I just wish it wasn't backdrop to Jay doing like a horrific stereotypical impression.
Mm-hmm. There are two bits in this whole episode that worked for me. The first is when they light dog poop on Vince Valence's stoop and Vince Valence comes out still wearing the scarf. Got a huge laugh at him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is that there was a fire for real, like on the block. So they wrote into it an excuse to make it look like Jay burned someone's apartment down. And those are the only two laughs I got in the entire episode.
Yeah. I also did laugh at the part where they're wiretapping Vince Valence and Jay is just drinking at 9 a.m. and Matt goes, "You're really getting lit right now?" I thought that was pretty funny, but the laughs are far and few on this one.
I liked when Matt said Christmas orange, because I eat oranges on Christmas. That's the thing my family does.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah.
Not mine. I only learned about Christmas oranges a few years ago.
You can join anytime.
It's true.
Maybe
Great tradition.
My grandmother used to claim that she only got an orange for Christmas, which was fundamentally untrue because there's many pictures of her in fur coats that my great-grandfather bought. And I didn't know that a Christmas orange was a thing. I just thought she had a weird lie that she was telling everybody.
I do love an old person weird lie. And I look forward to being an elderly person who can make shit up and never get called on it. I guess I could start doing that now, but I think it's less charming when you're just a regular person in their 30s.
Yeah, you just look like a fucking sociopath.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could go through the plot of this, but basically it's Matt lies about a guy calling Jay Jewish, and then they spiral, and then they do a wiretap, and then they call the people who work at the Rivoli to try and blackmail Vince Valence, and that's the whole thing. Sorry, I'm really defeated by watching this one.
I think there's also, it seems like they were actually calling real employees of the Rivoli in this one. And I don't know if it's just sort of like the general tenor of this episode not feeling great, but this is one of the moments where the like interacting with real people in the world didn't feel great to me. And I got like a little chuckle out of the one person they called who like doesn't seem to want to admit that he doesn't know who's calling him, and he sort of pretends to know who Vince Valence is. But the rest of it is just like, leave these ladies alone. What are you doing?
Yeah. It felt icky. And in the commentary, they say that all the phone numbers were the real phone numbers of the staff of the Rivoli that someone who worked there leaked to them.
Yeah.
And that also felt wrong. Everything about this episode is doing all of the things that we praise them for not doing in other episodes.
I was trying to figure out why that felt so different from like, what was it, 2 or 3 episodes ago, where like they're filming and it's a real like wait staff at the Rivoli who's like really playing along with them and being charming and like may or may not know that they're being filmed. Why does it, like, I think it being like a phone call and their actual personal phone numbers instead of like in public is what separates those for me. But I'm curious if you guys feel differently.
100%. It was them like violating someone's personal space versus we're in public and I'm doing something weird and you're responding to it. Like, this was a direct invasion of people's like privacy and personal space.
Yeah, it definitely didn't feel good knowing that the numbers that they had were real people from the Rivoli, that the photos that were on the board were real people from the Rivoli. Like, all of that like felt gross to me to hear in the commentary. Like, I was already pretty grossed out, and then I was like, oh, this also kind of sucks.
Yeah, I walked away with no deep analysis or overthinking, just kind of feeling like shit.
Yeah, this one and the previous one, Battle of the Bands, when I was explaining to you, Michelle, that this is like a Saw Trap, these both feel like Jay McCarroll Saw Trap episodes in a way, just in different ways. We're like, Battle of the Bands, haha, we're having fun. Like, yes, Matt attempts to kill himself, but it's like a joke.
Yeah.
This one is just, as I wrote in my notes, a fucking prison.
But you know what? I think it's a Saw Trap to us because Jay fucking dresses up in a racist costume and goes into someone's place of business.
Yeah.
Like, he is just as fucking complicit.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Goes back to my whole, they're both dickbags. Like, the characters are both dickbags thing. Though, I don't know if you noticed, if we ever get sued or get a takedown notice, Matt Johnson gave us some evidence to cite in the court case on the commentary here.
Thank you, Matt.
He says, stealing is important. Since it's a web show not being sold, you can do whatever you want. If you get a comment from lawyers, just take it down and put it back up in a week.
Words to live by.
So, when I saw the opening night of The People's Joker, Vera Drew said that the way that she got that movie out, despite Warner Brothers not wanting it, was they found out that Peter Safran, head of DC movies, had illegally used Batman in a parody movie that he produced, and that was the legal loophole she found to get The People's Joker out.
Whoa.
And
that rocks.
Yeah, rocks. She's fucking Vera Drew, come on the fucking show.
We love you.
I love her so much. But if we ever get a cease and desist or a takedown notice, motherfuckers, we got you. That's the one upside to episode 8.
The secrets hidden in the commentary for the worst episode so far.
Yeah, I mean, the commentary in this is great. I felt very, if I wasn't looking at the screen, I felt very inspired by what they were saying about like, film school is telling you need all of this stuff. You don't actually, you really just need like a couple friends and like a good camera and a mic and you're good to fucking go. Like, all of that I found really incredible. And then hearing them talk about how they got some of these shots, that like the Queen Street fire, they only got it because him and Jay were playing Diablo 2 at like 4 a.m. and they rushed out with their cameras and shot like 4 different versions of reactions to it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And I feel that right now Nirvana the band is in this really interesting inflection point with fans where like it was already popular with certain groups of people, but I feel like it's really exploded since the movie.
Yeah.
And I think part of that does have to do with this sort of like DIY ethic of it, like and the aesthetics. And like you walk out of there feeling inspired to just go make shit with your friends. And I feel like this commentary really gets at that. Like I'm not a person who ever was interested in like making videos or movies or anything but like that. But you just sort of feel it when you watch their stuff that like, oh man, I want to hang out with my buddies and just like make something cool.
That's what prompted this fucking show. You know, we were all felt pretty inspired to connect with our pals. So thank you to this commentary for reinforcing that. But fuck you to this episode.
True.
Agreed.
Watch the last 5 minutes for the fire stuff, because I think that is a really big shift in how they make stuff with the whole a thing happens and we'll write around it. That does happen in the movie in a pretty big way. And we capture this raw footage. How do we make the show fit it? So that's important.
Yeah. Watch the first 30 seconds to see. Well, no, I guess it's a little longer. See Matt's nice haircut and then the fire at the end, and you can skip the whole most of the episode.
Yeah.
It is a really nice haircut.
It's a really nice haircut.
He looks cute. Episode 8. Bad vibes.
You know what isn't a bad vibe?
The Cloverfield monster.
The Cloverfield monster.
Yeah, it feels like bad vibes to end the episode on.
Yeah. I mean, we could go through our plans, see if we've gotten anybody lately.
Sure.
But we have. That also might be a bad time. We should also probably explain how the production of this podcast has worked in that we are recording this episode 4, the day before episode 1 officially goes live. So if you have sent us feedback about anything,
wait a month.
Wait a little bit. We haven't heard it. I'm sorry.
We have been absolutely shocked by the level of interest to our no episodes yet, which is fascinating and delightful and a little bit scary.
In terms of good vibes, I'd like to call out just how wonderful it's been to see the support of the fan community and the enthusiasm for a thing that has not even come out yet. And I hope y'all are enjoying it. Obviously, we want to hear your feedback. You know, we want to make the best show we can, even though we are just 3 friends fucking around. But I really love the response we've gotten, even before we've dropped. It's really, really heartening, especially me, anti-fandom McGee, being like, y'all seem really nice.
Yeah. Steve, before we started recording, Steve did share with us that Nirvana the band, the show, is one of the fastest growing fandoms on AO3 this week. So I think there's a real appetite for content about it, and I hope you enjoy our stupid version of doing that.
We got to it a month before all the fan fiction writers.
Yeah, we got to it before them.
Definitely.
Wink.
And you know, I would talk about the New York Mets, but that is also a bad vibe right now.
Live podcast at the Mets at Citi Field.
Podcast face reveal.
Yes. Oh my God, can we do it with Mr. Met and they have to guess which one of us is not Mr. Met?
I'm the one.
What if Mr. Met is one of us?
I'm the one looking off to the side at his wife.
Oh my God.
She's so hot. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. I don't think either of us disagree.
No, we don't disagree.
I do think Kit is slightly bothered by how horny I am for Mrs. Met.
It's pretty horny, okay? Like it's a little more than anticipated for a mascot.
It's weird how your eyes like physically pop out of your head and like go 3 feet out and get way bigger every time.
I do turn into a cartoon wolf.
Yeah.
Humana.
Yeah.
I'd do a January 6th for Mrs. Met's affection.
What does that mean, Steve? What does that mean?
I don't know, but I wanted to bring up Michelle storming the Capitol one last time before we retire the bid.
Like, in this scenario, is Mr. Met the president and he's like...
Stop this.
No. Like, I don't... Is it Steve Cohen? Like, what are we talking about here?
Okay, I got it. The Mets are out of ABS challenges, and the umpire makes a bad call, And Mr. Met's like, stop the steal. And Mrs. Met's like, yeah. And then they want me to storm the field to punch an umpire.
Okay.
I bet there's a lectern somewhere in there that you could steal.
Yeah, there is. I took a picture with it recently when I did a tour.
You could
Oh, you did a tour.
take that bad boy out.
Yeah.
Your very own January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
I did a J6 at the Mets.
And all I got was this t-shirt.
Okay, fan art. We need somebody to make a Michelle. Michelle participated in January 6th, and all she got was this stupid t-shirt.
I might make that myself. Is there a rule that you can't make fan art for your own show?
I think we just are making merch now.
Yeah. January 6th merch for our Nirvana the Band show podcast.
One of them is going to be me that says, I'm sorry to the Cloverfield monster. One of them is I stormed the Capitol, and all I got was this stupid t-shirt. And Kit, we got to make Kit merchandise.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But, anything else y'all want to talk about or add before we go off to hopefully better vibes next week?
I mean, I know we have ended this one on a real rough one. This was a real heaven and hell episode. But Michelle, we are almost at the end. We have 2 more episodes left. How are you feeling? 3 more episodes left. You are correct. I don't know how to count.
I know. Remember what happened last episode?
No.
I'm feeling good. I've been having a lot of good times. I've been having a laugh. I'm really excited for the production value to go up slightly. But also, I've just grown really fond of these boys. It's interesting to watch the show the way we have been for this, because I've been watching each episode a couple times so that I have notes and thoughts and things to talk about. And I realized earlier today that this is exactly how I think I would have consumed something like this if I had encountered it when it was going live. Because this is how I consumed the things I loved then, which was they only come out every couple weeks or every couple months. I'm just gonna keep watching it what I can over and over while I have it, and developing parasocial bonds to the people acting in it. And I don't know, it's really interesting to sort of replicate that experience and not just binge it in its entirety the whole way through.
It's much better to do it that way, I feel. Me checking in on them once a week and doing this thing where I'm refusing to go back to any of the other stuff has allowed me to really appreciate the show in a different way. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I wish I could say the same. I have been just watching everything all the time. Have not stopped.
I might watch the movie again before we get to the movie in podcast land, because that's still quite a ways off.
By the time that episode comes out, I will have my Blu-ray, so I'm waiting for that.
I can't wait.
We're going to have so much fun with the making of features.
I hope so. Although, there is part of me that doesn't at all want to know how they've made things. And maybe the making of will leave some secrets. I don't know.
That'll be just me and Kit that episode.
Yeah, it'll be you being oh, I'm so excited that they explained how they did this, and me going, it's all real. None of this was fake. 9/11 was an inside job.
Is Marion Cotillard on the podcast? Because she thinks 9/11 was fake.
Didn't know that.
Well, there you go.
You are full of such a terrible, cursed information.
Do you think I want to be like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really don't. I wish I had better things in my brain than O.J. Simpson reality prank shows.
Doesn't Marion Cotillard also think the moon landing is fake?
Seems like a thing she'd believe.
If you believe one of those things, you probably believe the other.
Okay, before we go, can I just explain to you what her 9/11 conspiracy is? Because it's incredible.
Wait, it's not the usual?
Yeah, I thought there was kind of
About
just
the jet
the
fuel?
one.
She thinks that the people who own the building wanted to tear it down for insurance money, and it was too expensive.
The World Trade Center?
And it was too expensive to just demolish it, so they flew a couple of planes into it.
That
The World Trade Center.
Like a guy burning down a bodega for the insurance money. Oh, they just flew a few planes into the World Trade Center.
What about the Pentagon?
What
How they
about that
covered it
field
up,
in
baby.
Pennsylvania?
Oh man, this episode went off the fucking rails.
Yep.
Hey, listeners. I want to thank you for bearing with us. I don't know what's going to make it into the episode, but some of it will.
Yeah, the cut I'm going to release is going to be just like 15 minutes.
Release the unredacted cut. In which I get several facts wrong. Anywho, I'm excited to get back to other episodes next week with you, too. Because we are so close to the Viceland series.
I can't wait.
It's going to be so
And
good.
we finally get to go through some of the little bits and bobs from the web series.
Yeah.
I cannot wait, Michelle, to show you Nicky Nine Doors.
It's pretty great.
I can't wait.
I don't know if you've already seen it, but
I
it's very important to me.
I have not seen the full episode that it comes from. I think I've seen a clip or two from it.
Okay.
So
But
just
I
so
tried to scroll away when I realized that was happening. I am excited to talk for 3.5 hours about Wii Shop Update Day.
Are we, so just so we have this clear, we're finishing the web series, we're going to do the odds and ends, and then the Viceland series.
That was my interpretation,
Okay.
but I'm
No,
happy.
cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Is
good with
that
that.
chronological order?
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels right.
No, you're right. I totally forgot about it. Episode 8 broke me so, deep in my core that I forgot the format of our podcast.
It's understandable. But
Well, it's okay.
we're
We're
moving-
just here to
we're
talk
moving
about
on.
the Cloverfield movies. Kit, good luck
Well-
editing this one.
yeah. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about before I do the outro?
No, I don't think so.
I love you all. Thanks for listening.
Love you.
Thank you all for listening. We're super excited to keep on watching the show. Next week, we'll be covering episodes 9 and 10. And yeah, nothing like a good feeling.
Nothing like a good feeling.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
God damn it, Steve!
Nothing like Thank you for listening to Nirvana, the band, the show, the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. You can email us or send a voice memo to nirvanathepod@gmail.com. And we're also on Bluesky and Instagram @nirvanathepod. Our website is nirvanathepod.com. Our show is edited by Kit with additional help by John. Special thanks to Ann Meadows for our logo. Oh, and Matt and Jay, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the show.